Good afternoon. Since last few days, I have been continuously receiving these queries from my clients that which tax option should they select or which tax regime should they select, old or new. The reason is because their HR would be asking them so that they can correctly deduct the required TDS. So by now I am sure you would be knowing that there are two tax regimes. The new tax regime is now there since last 3 years with the latest budget making certain more changes and making it more attractive in terms of reducing the slab rates. The key difference between old and new tax regime is that old tax regime allows the deductions but their slab rates are higher, whereas in new tax scheme it doesn't give any deduction benefits but slab rates are more attractive. So the logic is same since last 3 years, but as I said, last year it was made more attractive as compared to earlier years. So now there are more and more chances that if your deductions are not much, then you may opt for new scheme. So of course you can also go back to your financial consultant or chartered accountant, like how my clients are coming to me for advice. But at the same time, I thought about making this video so in nutshell you can understand and take your own decision if you want to quickly get back to HR or know the logic behind how to choose old or new tax regime. I am not going for full explanation of tax slabs. For that you can get that information in Google, or I have made a separate video that what are the slab rates under old tax regime and what are under new tax regime. Today's video I will just explain the key parameters which you should know in order to select which option should you go for. So let's go for the main part. New tax regime or old tax regime. What are the deciding factors? So your gross income and your deductions. Those are the two main deciding factors for you to select old or new tax regime. So gross income would obviously be same, that is your income. Deduction is where everything changes, because under old tax regime deductions are allowed and under new tax regime deductions are not allowed. So deductions are going to be the deciding factor for you to decide which scheme you would select. Now for that I have made 3 important slabs. One is if your income is 7 lakh, that is net income after standard deduction, because standard deduction is allowed under both new and old scheme, which is 50,000. So if your income is 7 lakh, then what should be your deduction amount? If your income is 10 lakhs and if your income is 15 lakhs or above. So if your income is 7 lakhs, then you need at least 2 lakh deduction for your old scheme to be at par with the new scheme. So when I say old scheme to be at par with new scheme means what? Means if your deduction amounts are lower than that, then your new tax scheme will be more beneficial as compared to old. In 7 lakhs, income up to 7 lakhs, new tax scheme has 0 tax because of rebate. So to bring your old tax to the level of 0 tax when your income is 7 lakh, you will need 2 lakhs as deduction amounts, which can be ATC, NPS, HRA or any other amounts which are eligible for deductions. So your 7 lakh then will becomes 5 lakhs, and under old tax regime income up to 5 lakhs is 0. Under new tax regime income up to 7 lakhs is 0 through rebate. So you need to understand there is a difference. So slab rates wise, of course income is taxable, but if your income up to is limited up to 7 lakhs, then because of rebate it becomes 0. So if your income is 7 lakhs, then your deduction amount should be 2 lakhs or more for you to be at par with old scheme. New scheme. Note that in 7 lakhs you cannot be beneficial than the new scheme, because new scheme has anyway zero tax, so there can not be anything more beneficial than zero. So you can only be at par with the new scheme. If you still want to opt for old scheme, you can, but you cannot anyway go below zero. So till 7 lakh I would rather say opt for new scheme, because you need not block your funds into any tax saving scheme, but still it's your decision. If you think that at least it gets invested by that logic, then you can still opt for old scheme, but that your amount of deduction should be 2 lakhs. Now comes, if your income is 10 lakhs, then the same number of deduction should be 2,50,000. Note that if you're confused that how can I claim deduction anything above 1,50,000, because that is the limit of ATC, then please remember that there are other deductions also apart from ATC, like housing loan interest, ATG, ATU. You know, if you are paying any interest on education loan, then that is also a deduction. So it's not only ATC. So by whatever other deductions which you have with SMID claim, so if that total is above 2,50,000, then you can go for old scheme, or else you opt for new scheme. This is for the 10 lakh income. And if your income, once it crosses 15 lakhs, then the number which is required is 3,75,000 in order for your old tax scheme to be at par or beneficial than the new tax scheme, which means your total deduction by totaling everything, housing loan interest, ATC, NPS, should cross more than 3,75,000 for you to be beneficial. Otherwise, you opt for new scheme. In between those numbers, like 7 lakh to 10 lakh, 10 lakh to 15 lakhs, there would be, the numbers which would be in between those deduction numbers. From 7 to 10, it would be between 2 to 250. From 10 to 15, it would be from 250 to 375. But these three important slabs, so at least you get a rough number. Plus, I also made an Excel sheet. I have also made an Excel sheet where if you input the number of income, then it gives you the deduction number required for your old tax scheme to get par with new scheme. There you can input any number, 11 lakh, 50,000, 11 lakh, 25,000. You will get the exact number. But as a ballpark number, you can remember these three deduction numbers. And once you know that you are at 30% bracket, you can ignore all those previous numbers. You just need to remember this 3,75,000 number which I just spoke about. That if your income crosses 15,50,000, then your deduction number needs to be 3,75,000 or more for you to benefit out of old scheme, or else opt for new scheme. Now these are just plain arithmetic numbers without going into other psychological reasons for which you may opt any scheme over the other. Like if you want money in your hand and you are okay to let go some taxes, or you don't want to go into a potential future dispute with tax department, that supposingly if they ask any documents to prove that this is a legitimate deduction, and you don't want to go into all those fights, then you may opt for new scheme even for those reasons. Like, okay, it's simple, straight away lower tax without trying to claim any deduction. So those are separate reasons. But this is a number which gives you a clear-cut analysis of at what level of income and at what level of deduction, what should be your decision. Thank you. And if you have any queries about this topic, please let me know in comment box and I will get